I never heard anything bad about Angry Birds. Well, let's watch it. I remember the movie too. That was something. I never watched it, but you know.
Back in 2011, Angry Birds was everywhere. They had multiple different games, toys and movies, generating hundreds of millions of dollars. But by 2019, they were firing masses of staff, and since then things have only gotten worse. Perhaps it's just karma for stealing the initial idea. Angry Birds wasn't an original concept. In April 2009, a game was released named Crush the Castle, which required players to fire a trebuchet into a wooden structure hiding medieval people. Well, 8 months later, in December 2009, game developer Rovio made an app named Angry Birds, which, while clearly being a rip-off, was better in every way. It had cooler, cleaner animated graphics, and different stages, each with different levels. You got points for every enemy killed, and points for every bird you didn't use, giving players the chance to compete for high scores. Throw in 5 different birds with 5 different abilities, as well as a cool, catchy soundtrack, and it's easy to see that Angry Birds was better.
Hold on, I kind of want to listen to it. It was really good. It was a bop. Yeah, it's actually catchy. You're right. I remember this still.
Developed 51 games prior to Angry Birds, none of which saw even the smallest bit of success. Therefore, when Angry Birds took only 2 months to become the #1 paid app in 60 countries, they understandably took the chance to milk it. Then made loads of different varieties like Angry Birds Seasons, Angry Birds Space, and Angry Birds Star Wars, helping it become
the spin-off for Star Wars, man. That's wild.
1 paid app in Apple's App Store, with 6 to 7 million paid downloads. By the end of Angry Birds' first year, they'd made $10 million US, but players still demanded more. We have so many fans who have asked for the plush toys, so these are going to be available in a couple of weeks.
That's really smart from a marketing perspective to milk the little kids and their parents for their money. To be fair, they are cute, like the little pigs. Yeah, the little pigs.
And we're really trying to build Angry Birds into this entertainment franchise. It took only 4 months before that announced 60,000 Angry Birds soft toys have been sold, as the game itself became the best-selling paid app of all time. Within Angry Birds itself, that implement microtransactions like Mighty Eagle.
Use the Mighty Eagle to cause total destruction and earn feathers. That's fucked, man.
Which allowed players to pay to clear entire levels. Wait
a minute, but didn't you already pay for the game itself? You just watched an ad? That's still pretty... No? I thought you paid for Angry Birds. Maybe I'm misremembering. It was a long time ago.
Celebs like Justin Bieber even advocating for it. Angry Birds made $100 million in 2011 and went from 28 employees in the beginning of the year to 224 employees by the end of 2011. 5 months later, they set a new world record. First mobile game series to reach 1 billion downloads. They'd double their revenue again by the end of 2012, at which point they started to face a serious problem. The game was getting stale. They'd made multiple different Angry Birds versions, but hadn't changed the concept in over 3 years. As a result, in the following year, their profits more than halved, with
That's what would have happened with Fortnite if they didn't start, like, doing stuff inside of Fortnite and changing things. Yeah, they just ripped it off and didn't know what else they could do with it. I bet you they could have hired someone to do something creative, but they didn't do it.
Angry Birds falling to 59th.
Fortnite stole its concept from PUBG. I understand. I totally get it, but I'm just saying that Angry Birds ripped someone else off as well, but Fortnite develops within its own little universe, and that's what keeps it going. They do like collabs, like Hatsune Miku, like they have that concert shit. Yeah.
The App Store,
That's what keeps it
forcing the
fresh.
franchise to try a new format. They'd release Angry Birds Go at the end of 2013, and while this was somewhat of a Mario Kart ripoff, people absolutely loved it.
So, I mean, it's fun. It is good fun. It looks good. It plays well.
Professional reviewers gave it 7.7, while people on Reddit called it their favorite Angry Birds game, and perfection at its finest. Rovio therefore continued to experiment,
Oh no, not the Raid Shadow Legends frickin' Angry Birds. Oh no!
releasing an RPG game named Angry Birds Epic, which again received incredible reviews reading, "The latest Angry Birds title is a welcome addition to a franchise, which hasn't seen much change since its inception back in 2009. Similarly, users said it might be the best RPG title I've ever played.
And honestly, a pretty solid time. I think the approach they went with here really worked and paid off.
The only
Oh my god, man. These people will eat up anything, man. RPGs have been around since the dawn of fucking PCs, man.
problem
Was
was
that IGN? No, it wasn't actually. Not the reviewer person.
these games didn't sell merch like the original Slingshot format. Therefore,
Ah, look at the
merchandise sales
plushies.
plummeted, while total 2014 revenue dropped, and profits fell 73% to 10 million euros. As a result, media
That's not
outlets
good.
reported, Rovio lays off 110 people as Angry Birds hype fades, representing 14% of the company's workforce. They try to fix their decline with yet another experiment.
Oh, I remember playing this game a long time ago. Not this version, but this has been around since the arcades.
Angry Birds Pop, which was
poppin'
pretty
stuff.
unsuccessful. In a Reddit thread asking out of all the Angry Birds games, which one do you think is the worst, Pop was mentioned many times over. Therefore, they'd go back to basics and put out Angry Birds 2, the official sequel, although many called it a downgrade from the original. The sequel was filled to the brim
Yes!
with microtransactions,
Yeah,
clearly
Pickle
annoying
and
the
Bubble
fan
Bob.
base who wrote, "This is a very greedy game that keeps sucking money out of you. If you play well, the game becomes harder and harder until it's impossible, and then you either have to replay each level 10 times or buy gems. The game is just trying to
Yes.
throw you off balance and get under your skin so that you pay more." The official IGN review said the game took
I don't know if this is like a controversial opinion or something, but I genuinely think the golden era for apps and games was between like 2013 and before. Because they didn't realize how much they could milk people. And then there was a tipping point with, I don't know what game it was or what app it was. I think it was probably Candy Crush. I think Candy Crush, and then on PC, it was definitely EA Games. That's what like really sent it over the edge.
significant steps backward for the massively
There were definitely apps that had like pay to win features. It didn't work yet.
popular series. Angry Birds 2 is missing key parts of what made previous games so universally compelling to gamers both hardcore
Hardcore and casual Angry Birds. What the hell is hardcore Angry Birds? What is that? What?
and casual, young and old. Still, due to its intense monetization, Angry Birds 2 became their highest earning game. Surprisingly,
Yeah.
however, that very same year, they'd announced losses of almost 15 million and would
How? What?
fire a further third of their workforce, this time being over 200 people. This seemed to imply that Angry Birds was dead until they'd make an unexpected comeback.
The movie,
Turns out they'd
probably.
spent the previous 3 years privately developing the Angry Birds movie. At a cost of 73 million, they'd made a risky bet, but with a star-studded cast and a fun little story, the Angry Birds movie did surprisingly well. It made over 350 million from its
Holy!
70 million budget and put Angry Birds back into the public spotlight.
Kids' movies make so much money, even if they're bad. I wouldn't be surprised, even if Minecraft flopped. I wouldn't be surprised if they made insane amounts of money.
People began replaying their previously released games, while
Minecraft
Angry
was gonna
Birds theme
suck.
parks popped up in different countries. Media outlets reported Rovio Games had its best year ever in 2016.
What?
However, the gaming releases that Angry Birds was known for was still declining in quality. In his video, I played and ranked every Angry Birds game so you don't have to, Jake Miller talks about Angry Birds Action.
Angry Birds Action was the start of using the new anthropomorphic designs from the movies in their games, which I think most fans agree was the real beginning of the end for the series.
Which happened to be the first game after the movie.
It's almost like they Disney-fied him. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't think this was the move.
Similarly, in the Reddit thread asking about the worst Angry Birds game,
That's bad.
one user implied it was most of them after the movie's release. Said games included Angry Birds Fight, aka a Candy Crush ripoff, as well as Angry Birds Match, which was described as extremely bland. However,
I need to start making like VTuber games. What if we have like VTuber Angry Birds?
Thankfully for Rovio, their older titles were still extremely popular, with Angry Birds 2's revenue growing 47% in 2018, despite it being over 3 years old. This gave them the budget to make a second movie.
What?
However, their $65 million bet didn't pay off so well this time. Forbes wrote Angry Birds 2 is worse than the original in nearly every way, whilst Rotten Tomatoes critics added, a distressingly ineffective sequel that grows less and less interesting and more tiresome as it unfolds.
I don't even know how you can write a plot for Angry Birds. What is the plot for Angry Birds movie? What the hell? How do you even make a story out of it?
Still, the movie made a profit of $82 million,
And a
right as the
sequel?
company was making some weird changes.
The pigs try to steal the eggs. I mean, I guess that's good for a kid's movie. Lesson about controlling anger. Yeah, maybe chat should watch that movie.
Despite their older games being low maintenance, Rovio decided to completely stop updating them. Then, without explanation, some of the older beloved titles, including the original Angry Birds, were deleted from the App Store. When people began to talk about what they'd done, people made compilations stating Angry Birds was dead. There were comments like, "Remember when Rovio actually cared?" Whilst
Oh no, you know what's funny? I don't think they cared at all. I don't think they even cared from the get-go.
#BringBack2012 began to trend on Twitter. Things got so bad that Rovio apologized, stating they only did it as maintaining the highest quality of updates and live operations isn't possible with our older games.
Do you want to know what that's code word for? It's code word for you guys are buying our new games, and those are the ones that make us money, and the one that costs $1 isn't making us enough money, and you can just play the game for basically for free.
In response to the backlash that announced they planned on redeveloping Angry Birds Classic, which was re-released on the App Store in 2022, but at a price of $1.99 with no.
See, there it is. It's $1.99 instead of $1. Try and milk it back if you can.
In-game purchases, they'd changed Classic's name to Red's First Flight, making it harder to find in the App Store, thus
That's evil!
prompting players to buy the newer, more profitable games. This successfully fooled some people who struggled to find it on the App Store. However, others knew exactly what Angry Birds was doing.
My theory, which was proven right, was that the old games took away from Rovio's newer cheap games. Yeah, absolutely. They got rid of the old ones so that you would have no other choice but play the modern Candy Crush-esque games. Yeah, because if you implemented that same business model on Angry Birds, the first one, it would have been a lot more backlash, but then they didn't want to do it for the second one or like the later ones because they wanted to make more money off of it. Again, it's all just comes back to like greed.
They got rid of the old ones
They love
so that
money.
you would have no other choice than to play the modern Candy Crush-esque games. They despised the games that made the company and so lost its spirit. Rovio basically confirmed this, openly stating they changed the name due to the game's impact on our wider games portfolio.
Yep.
They further requested that fans continue to bring that passion to our live Angry Birds slingshot games, such as Angry Birds 2, however players weren't too happy. We hope those fans can continue to bring that passion to our other games which have been designed to be more psychologically manipulative and stuffed with more microtransactions.
There's a very fine line that these greedy companies have to toe, and when they step out of line, people will freak out. And they overstepped it clearly, because people are fine with like the ads and stuff a little bit. Like, yes, you paid $1. By the way, do you guys remember when paying $1 for like an app was like a lot? I remember wanting to buy Fruit Ninja on my mom's iPad, and she was like, "No, $1's way too much. You're not paying money for that shit." And I was like, "Aw, man, I wanted to play Fruit Ninja on your iPad, and you won't let me." Yeah, my parents just straight up just said no.
It for you. The drama
Even if
was
it's
so
only
severe,
$1.
it seemingly halted any future games, as Angry Birds Classic is still the most recent title, released way back in 2022.
It's dead,
in
Jim.
2023, Rovio was sold to Sega, although this has
What?
done little to fix their reputation. One recent tweet expressed, "I very much still love Angry Birds. That said, the current state of it is dog shit. My hope for the franchise is at an all-time low right now. I'll just continue to enjoy what I love about it, but it's sad to see what it's become.
Let
Despite
it go,
everything,
Jim.
Angry Birds isn't finished, as they just announced they're making a third movie, although with the rest of the franchise in decline, its performance might be interesting."
What? Why would you your second one bombed? Why would you? I don't know, man. Some people have way too much money on their hands, dude. You guys go check it out. Go check out Sunny V2. Money laundering? It very well could be, man. I'm convinced sometimes when movies flop, like flop after flop, it's gotta be money laundering. I'm not sold. Not sold on that shit. Sega can't make business decisions? I don't understand is
The
why would
current state of it.
Sega buy something that has such a bad reputation? Sega's not exactly an outstanding, like, video game company either. They've made some really bad fucking decisions. Outside of, you know, like, movies and stuff. So, I love that the Sonic movie got bullied into submission by social media. I hope they do something about Shrek. Persona, though. No, I'm not saying every single thing that they make, but they've made a lot of mistakes. Sonic movies are actually pretty good. I know, but I'm saying, like, when they first released the trailers, they looked so bad, and then they got bullied into submission, and they delayed the game because they changed Sonic and their designs. Which is good. I think that if you're being critical of something, and they listen, I think that's good. It would have bombed so bad. The first Sonic was a horrible. Hold on, let me find it. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's so bad. Oh my god. I completely forgot! It's actually worse than I remember, man. I'm not kidding. I've completely forgot. It's been 5 years. Look at this shit! Ah! What is wrong with him?
Fast.
Ah! He's so ugly! Ah! This was unironically criminal. I don't know, like, you know how they screen movies before they show trailers? How do you not know that the audience would fucking hate this, man?
Meow.
Ah!
Oh, come
That's what I would have done too. I would have shot him.
Fire, fire,